Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of our Pokemon Battle Series, the School of Hard Knocks. So throughout this episode, like every other, we'll be jumping on to the Pokemon Global Link Battle Sport ladder, playing under the Championship Battle rules, which are the equivalent rule set of the VGC 2017 season. So just a quick update, guys, before we kick into anything, and just to let you know that I have made a QR code of this team. It is in the description. It has been updated so that Porygon 2 has frustration. Hopefully that helps out a bit more. I still need to find out about the mechanics on how QR code teams translate the happiness value. So you would think it would kind of reset, so using frustration would be the better alternative to return. And it's a shame it doesn't lock in the happiness, so you can just use return and things like that. But that's something we might see in the future. If you guys try it out and the frustration is not working, do let me know and we'll have a think about what we can do to kind of resolve that if you want to try it out anyway. But just to let you know, it is there, so you can go and try it out yourselves on the Battle Spot ladder and see what you think of it. It's got some quirky things in, like we've seen. We've got that Tapu Koko with Nature Power, which is really cool. It's really flexible with that Tapu Fini, moving between the Gigavolt Havoc and the Twinkle Tackle depending on what you need. So you can nuke a Garchomp if you need to, or you can nuke a Celesteela or an Arcanine if you need to. So it's quite versatile in that respect. You've also got the Solid Trick Room mode with the, I would even include the Tapu Fini in that, just with the Heal Pulse and Swagger support that it kind of offers there with the Porygon 2 Mudsdale. And then we've got Incineroar, it's our fire type, cool fake out Pokemon, and the Scizor as well, obviously the Scizor, and supported by the cast of Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini. Sorry, I keep playing with my hair, I've got like a bit sticking up there, it's desperate. I keep saying this, I need to get it cut, it's a mess at the minute, but whatever, anyway. But what we did say earlier on in the week, guys, was we would take a look at the American International Championships that happened this past weekend and have a quick look at what teams and things came out from that. So if you guys, any of you guys at home did catch the stream, I'm going to pull up the results here from Trainer Tower. If you don't know about Trainer Tower already, guys, it's an amazing resource. It has the damage calculator on there for VGC specifically, and it posts pretty much, the guys that run it do an amazing job. They post very frequently and very close to after events the top cut teams, the placings, and they do really cool articles on there about snapshots of the metagame and things like that. So it's a really cool resource to use. It's a nice little community as well, and they have a lot of good team building and analysis articles on there. So do go and check it out. I will link it in the description if you want to go over and have a look at that yourselves. It has got a forum there, so you can join that. So it's an amazing resource. And you may as well take advantage of it if you're playing VGC, because I definitely think it's something all VGC players should be using. So do go over and check that. But more importantly, as I was saying, we're going to check out the Indianapolis, United States International Championship results from this past weekend. It was streamed, guys, so you can, if you missed the stream, you can go back onto the Twitch channel and watch all the matches from the Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So there was some absolutely corkers in there, so definitely go and check it out if you did miss it. But we will just go down the list. So Christopher Khan from Australia came out of seemingly nowhere. He's a past TGC world champion, so he's made the transition over to VGC, and his Pokemon skills have just transitioned over with him because he was the eventual winner of the event. Had a really solid team, played extremely well. There's some notable things on a lot of the teams that we saw. I mean, Tapu Koko was pretty much everywhere, and for good reason. Tapu Koko is super fast, but a lot of these Tapu Kokos were utilising the Gigavolt Havoc, so they had the Electrium Z on there to just nuke things straight up. As you know, I was reading earlier on, Paul Chur did a quick brief synopsis of his team, and he was running Thunder on his Tapu Koko, so he had the option there with the Electrium Z to really pick up KOs and guarantee KOs and things like bulky Arcanine and stuff like that, just for that additional power. So really interesting choices there. You've got in Chris's team, obviously the Snorlax, the other big thing to come out of this tournament is the amount of Snorlax that were just seemingly everywhere. And it's weird because if you look at kind of usage statistics from regionals and things that we've had before this event in particular, Snorlax seems to be kind of pettering off a little bit, but it's come back with a big force in this event. Obviously, the 3 of the top 4 teams all carrying Snorlax there, so very interesting. A lot of the same calls with that Celesteela, Arcanine, Garchomp as well, kind of complementing the other parts of the team with the Tapu Koko, obviously making up that core 4. And then you're kind of tagging on either the Porygon 2 or the Snorlax, or you've got the Ninetales for that Aurora Veil support for Snorlax, just bolstering those defenses. And then we've got a Mimikyu Snorlax as well, with Scizor in 3rd place there. Interestingly enough as well, another trend that I kind of really liked to see come out of the top teams here was the Metagross. Now there was a few Americans, kind of Nick, Rajan, and where are we going? Michael Lanzano. I think that's Jive Time, and Conan as well. Obviously, all playing Metagross centric teams. So Metagross being a big key to their kind of strategy in their teams. And another Pokemon that we've not really seen too much this season that's made a big splash at this event. So very interesting to see. Obviously, it's very good Pokemon. Steel type, hits all the Tapus for good damage, resists things that Tapu Fini can throw at it, matches up really well against Bulu, has access to things like Earthquake as well if you want to hit Tapu Koko and things like that. Helps counter the fighting types that we see like Buzzwole and so on and so on. So a very good choice. And Metagross in every format it's been in has pretty much been like one of the top tier Pokemon, so it's not really so much of a surprise to me that it's kind of coming out of the woodwork right now in the season. So I'd imagine that to kind of pick up as we go into Worlds as well. Remember, we do have a regional event in Liverpool coming up at the end of this month, so it'll be interesting to see again what the usage stats are going into there. So there you can see, we'll just go down to the usage stats here. Tapu Koko, Arcanine, Porygon 2, Garchomp, Kartana, Snorlax, so your top 6 Pokemon in usage. Celesteela usage kind of really peaked there, and I think that's probably a combination of how popular Nihilego has got recently at recent regional finishes, as well as Tapu Bulu, because Celesteela just does a really good job against both of them. As long as you can kind of cover the Arcanine, you're really matched up well against that ban call that's been coined. So that's not really too much of a surprise there. And in general, Celesteela, as we've seen, I've played it on the channel many times. It's one of those Pokemon, if you get it in the right position, it can sweep up against 3 opposing Pokemon. It's very strong. There's a horse there, so we see Mudsdale make an appearance. So Eduardo, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, had that big win at the Madrid special event with Mudsdale centric teams, so people kind of picking up on that as well now. We're obviously running it at the minute, but again, it does hit a lot of things in the metagame like Arcanine, Muck, Nihilego, really good damage, Metagross, Gigalith. But I think the big thing here that we need to think about is, and this is what I would be thinking about going into future events, is ways around Tapu Koko, ways around Snorlax, well, pretty much ways around these top 6 Pokemon here, and especially that core that we saw in the top 3 teams of Tapu Koko, Arcanine, Celesteela, and Garchomp. Obviously, we've got Gyarados on Christopher's team over the Celesteela that we see in the other 2 teams, but that's kind of the core that I would be looking at how I can tackle the metagame. And then obviously Snorlax as well. You want as many things to hit Snorlax and deal with it as possible, because we see Curse is the more common set and spread that we've seen used over this weekend, with Facade as well to take advantage of any status moves that are thrown out at us and things like that. So they're big things to think about. It'd be good to know what you guys think of this tournament. I'm kind of currently preparing for Liverpool, so these are the sort of things I'm looking at, because people are going to take influence from this event, look at teams that have done well, and you've got to come up with ways around these teams, I feel like, as well as everything else. But Snorlax is a big problem. I would kind of put probably up there with with one of the number one things to kind of counter going into future events. Obviously, the other thing to mention as well, not to forget about, is rain. We saw it win Japan Nationals, and it's done pretty well. It's obviously got top 4 at the US International Championship this weekend, with Sean playing that Pelipper Golduck team, with Double Tapu, Kartana and Metagross making up the squad there. And then where are we going for the next rain core? I'm sure there's another one in there. I'm surprised there's not one before now. There we go. Down in 17th, Riley Factura running that Gengar Boy. And then there's probably some more there. But Rain's another kind of core that I would definitely take a look at and be prepared for as well. I think there was another Rain team further down with the Serena in, so it was a very much similar team to that Japan national winning team. They made it into the top cut teams. But some very interesting teams to come out of there, and a lot to think about going into the next events. And what I'm going to do over the weekend is kind of use that information to put a team together with what I kind of would use, I think, going into another event. And before we start the episode with that new team, rather than do a team review afterwards, I'll kind of just go through the process at the start of the School of Hard Knocks episode, really quickly, just go over why I've chose things and what they're meant to do in the team and things like that, and we'll see how we get on with that. But I've probably been going on for far too long, guys. Let's get on to the battle spot, get some games going in today's episode. We are going to be running the Incineroar Scizor team that we have been running for last week and this week. We did change it up a little bit last week from that Salazzle team that we started with. And we might change some things up going into Friday's episode as well, because a couple of you have mentioned about the Mudsdale and why I run Assault Vest on it. Now, Assault Vest is really good. It does complement the stamina ability really well. And in this team with Heal Pulse support primarily, it's really strong. But a berry might be more handy to have. It might be better to have for longevity, and it takes away such reliance on the Heal Pulse. Also allows us to have Protect as well. The one thing about the Assault Vest is it lets you have all 4 coverage moves, which I do like with Mudsdale, but you could forgo some attacks, I think. Maybe Rock Slide would be something I would look to drop. I wouldn't want to drop close combat, but then again, you've got other options like Substitute as well that we could look at. So we might change things up for Friday's episode. We might not. We might just end with how we've got the team at the minute. But we've got our first opponent of the day, and they are running a team of Alolan Raichu, Tapu Koko, Gigalith, Gyarados, Mimikyu, and Kartana. So there's a blatant Trick Room mode there with the Gigalith, I would imagine, with that Mimikyu. So Mudsdale would be very good here if we can get the Trick Room up, to be honest. It beats that Electric Core pretty nicely. We just need to be very careful of that Kartana. The Gyarados we need to be careful with as well if it starts Dragon Dancing outside of a Trick Room. So I do like my own Tapu Koko here, just for the Kartana matchup primarily. So let's think, what can we do? I don't really want to bring... I think I might go Porygon to Mudsdale, and yeah, so we'll lock in Tapu Fini, so we've got some sort of terrain control on our end. Bring Tapu Koko on the back for the late game once we get the Trick Room ended. Hopefully we've done the job with that. We can bring Tapu Koko in to clean up. And Porygon 2 are going to be, and Mudsdale are going to be like a glue pretty much. We get the Trick Room up, get Mudsdale in, do as much damage as we can while it stays around on the field. We can try and take advantage of the Heal Pulse and Swagger with the Tapu Fini if the situation arises, but if it doesn't, then we'll just see how things play out. So we see my opponent lead off with Tapu Koko and that Raichu. We'll get the electric terrain up with a Tapu Koko, but because Tapu Fini is slow, we will overwrite that with our Misty terrain. So, we could go for Trick Room straight away with the Porygon 2, to be honest, right here, right now. We've got to be aware of Fake Out coming out onto that Porygon 2, and we also need to be a bit wary of the Taunt from Tapu Koko. But I'm going to switch out Tapu Fini, keep that terrain in the back in case we see the Tapu Koko switch out, and I do want to utilize that later, and I think I am just going to go for the Trick Room here, because if I get the Trick Room up now, it's going to really help us out going into the next few turns. And switching Mudsdale in means that any electric type attacks coming onto that Finny will be able to take pretty nicely. So just see a Fake Out come out from the Raichu and a Volt Switch into that Mudsdale, but because Mudsdale is a ground type attack, it is able to take that quite comfortably. So I'm gonna yeah. Let's go for a high horsepower into the Raichu, and I'm gonna go for that Trick Room again with Porygon 2. We'll probably see Tapu Koko Volt Switch out on the Porygon 2 slot. Ooh, but we see Raichu actually withdraw. Gyarados come in, so it's a nice switch from my opponent. I was thinking maybe the Tapu Koko would Volt Switch out and the Gyarados come in that side, but we do see that Volt Switch though. It's probably back into the Raichu to take advantage of that Fake Out support. But it is Kartana. Okay. High horsepower doesn't affect the Gyarados, and we do get the Trick Room up. Do need to be a bit careful here because obviously we are threatened by the Leaf Blade and a Waterfall. I think what I'm going to do is go for the double up into Kartana here. Like I can double up into Kartana. Even on -1, a close combat and an Ice Beam should be enough to take it out. But we could potentially do that. The Kartana protects and the Gyarados just goes for Hydro Vortex into the Mudsdale, and then we lose a lot of momentum there. But our other option is just going for Rock Slide, which if that Kartana does go for the attack, then we're not looking good either, because we probably will go down to a Leaf Blade. So I'm just going to go for that double, and there's the Detect. So yeah, do double into the Kartana here. It's a bit of a shame. So this Gyarados is going to be free to move. It's probably going to walk. Yeah, there's a Hydro Vortex. It's going to probably be into the Mudsdale. This will take us down. That's not so good. Okay, so Mudsdale, we do lose it. Right, I'm going to bring in Tapu Fini here. There's no point in bringing in Tapu Koko when we're in a Trick Room, because we can't outspeed anything. So, what did my Porygon 2 get a boost in? It must have been Attack. It's going to be very close. I don't know if we can get... I'm going to just Muddy Water and I'm going to Ice Beam into the Kartana. I don't know if this is going to be enough to pick up the KO onto the Kartana though. We really kind of... It would have been better if we'd had this special attack boost. And there's a Kartana switch out. It's going to be Tapu Koko. I prefer that switch to Kartana staying in now. So we do get an Ice Beam off onto Koko. See what the damage is like. It's not too good, but it's not too bad either. And we do hit our Muddy Water, which is nice. You know, there's always a chance we get accuracy drops on something as well. Koko's probably in Ice Beam range now. Yeah, we do see a Waterfall come out from Gyarados into Porygon 2. I think I'm just going to go for a Heal Pulse onto Porygon 2 this turn and go for that Ice Beam into Koko. That should pick up the KO there. But what we're going to have to do is really kind of, if we want to make use of the Swagger combination this game, we're going to have to make sure we get Tapu Fini out to get it back in again. So we can start swaggering that P2 for free. But we've also got to be really careful with the Koko, because I don't want to just bring in Koko. I need to kind of preserve the Koko at this point for that Kartana. So we do take down the Tapu Koko here with the Ice Beam. We get the Heal Pulse off. We'll probably see just a Waterfall into the Porygon 2 from that Gyarados, I'd imagine. Yeah. And there we go. So I think we got one more turn of Trick Room left. Yeah. And in comes Kartana. So what I think, let's see. Yeah, it's the last turn of Trick Room. So I'm going to switch out Finny into Tapu Koko. I've got to hope here that Kartana protects. That's I have to bank on that protecting here. And I'm just going to return into the Gyarados with the P2. Get some damage off onto it. My opponent, knowing that it's the last turn of Trick Room as well, hopefully protects that Kartana so it can just attack freely next turn. So Gyarados protects. Is the Kartana going to protect? Yeah, okay. So we get Koko in for free here, which is nice. And the dimensions turn back to normal. So, you've got to expect that Kartana to be sashed. So a combination of Volt Switch and Ice Beam should be enough to take it out. But I'm probably better off going for a Volt Switch into Finny. And an Ice Beam into that slot. And Trick Rooming. No, because if I Volt Switch into... Finny should be able to take it, to be honest. Finny should be able to take Leaf Blade. So there's a Gyarados switch for that Raichu. We do get the Volt Switch into Kartana. And we'll bring in Finny. And all being well, we should get this Trick Room up. We do need to be a bit cautious about the fake out this next turn though. That's the only issue. So we'll change the terrain. And we see Sacred Sword. So Finny comes in for free. Oh, but... Now my opponent, I think, has to fake out the Porygon 2 here and Leaf Blade it. Sacred Sword it. So I'm just going to Muddy Water with Finny and I'm going to switch in Koko, expecting that fake out and the Sacred Sword. I don't think a Muddy Water is going to be enough to take down the Kartana from this range. I wouldn't have thought. But I just need to burn this fake out because we don't want to just lose P2. So there's the fake out from the Raichu. It is into the Porygon slot. We do get a Muddy Water off. Kartana avoids. Oh, this is terrible. We needed that to hit so we could take it down the next turn. Get an accuracy drop on the Raichu. And there's a Leaf Blade. It's into the Finny though. Okay. Right, we're in a bit of a situation here. We needed that Muddy Water to hit, to be honest. So I'm just going to go for the same again, and I'm going to go for a Dazzling Gleam with Koko here. Because hopefully a Dazzling Gleam and a Muddy Water is enough to take down that Raichu. And that combination should be enough to take down the Kartana. Like I say, I don't know if the Muddy Water is going to be enough to take it down from that amount of health. But we'll see. We'll see. If the Finny goes down here though, it's, at least we've got the Porygon 2 to bring in the next turn. So we get the Muddy Water, do we hit the Raichu? We do hit the Raichu. So, yeah, and we should be... Dazzling Gleam, is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough? It should be. Should be. We are modest. Yeah, so we do take down the Raichu. Okay. And in comes Gyarados. So, what can we do here? I feel like the target has to be Tapu Koko here. So I might just protect. Like, what were we in? Trick Room turn-wise. We've got 2 turns, so we've got 1 more after this. So, I'm going to Muddy Water with Finny, and I'm just going to go for a... I need to really... I'm going to protect Koko this turn. So let's see, hopefully we hit the Muddy Water on this Kartana. We do hit, so let's see, is it going to be enough? I don't think it is, but you never know. It is enough, okay. We get a crit on Gyarados, which doesn't matter too much. But we do manage to take down the Kartana, which is huge. And we see a waterfall into that Koko slot. So, we'll be able to kind of get ourselves out of this hole now, because we can just... what I'm going to do is... I don't want to lose Koko, I don't want to just let it go down. I'm going to go for a Heal Pulse into the Koko slot. I'm going to switch out Koko into Porygon 2, and then we should be able to close the game up pretty nicely from this point. Because you've got to expect the Gyarados to go for a waterfall into that slot. So that was pretty close. It didn't look good for a minute or two there. We do get that Heal Pulse off. Get all that juicy health back onto our Porygon 2, which is really nice. We see a waterfall just come in to that slot, I'd imagine. Yeah. But, what am I going to do? Dimension switch back to normal. We don't want a Trick Room anymore, I don't think. I'm just going to go for a Muddy Water. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to go for a Heal Pulse into P2 again. Do we get an attack boost? So a +1, so I can just hit it with a return. And we should be able to just close the game out with both of these Pokemon, to be honest. There's a waterfall. P2 avoids, so that accuracy drop coming in, very handy right there. It wouldn't have KO'd us, but it might have flinched us, but that's kind of why we went for the Heal Pulse, just to cover that. We'll get the return, do some huge damage, and yeah, that's just going to make... I think that miss there just makes the game a bit easier for us to finish off. So Electric Terrain does leave the field, and we'll just go for a Muddy Water and a return, and that should be game. Phew. So my opponent forfeits. Very good game to my opponent. It's a bit of a slogfest again, but like I say, there was points in that match where I thought, oh, we've lost the Mudsdale, nah, and it's all downhill from here. We've got nothing to combat that electric core, but we made the right plays at the right time, I think, and took some opportunities while we had it, and managed to get the win. So that was quite good, and it's nice to be able to do that with a team. You know, like when you're playing a team and you get into a really bad position where you think, oh, that's it now, but this team seems to be able to have a way to kind of get itself out of really bad, difficult situations, which is an aspect I like about it. It's got nice switching synergy for the most part. Kartana is a bit of an iffy one to switch in and out on, but a lot of the time you just have to make sure if you're against Kartana, you get yourself into that Trick Room setting, or where you've got something where you can double into it, like the Mudsdale and the P2, that you can guarantee the KO onto it, or you have it outside of Trick Room and you make sure that you've got Tapu Koko there threatening it from the other end of the spectrum. So you've got kind of two ways to kind of always kind of approach that matchup, which it is quite a bad one, because if you've got Finny out on the field and you've got Mudsdale in the back, you can't freely switch Mudsdale into that slot, and vice versa really. And you know, it's the same, like, it's not so bad if you got P2 out, because you could switch either of the Tapus into that slot to take a potential Sacred Sword, but it's kind of making that guessing game whether they're going to Sacred Sword or Leaf Blade in that situation, which can be quite costly at sometimes. But enough of that, guys, because we have our next opponent of the day, and they are running a team of Slowking, Mimikyu, Snorlax, Alolan Muck, Tapu Bulu and Arcanine. So a really cool, interesting team here. Nice take on the Tapu Bulu Arcanine kind of call that we've seen getting progressively more common at the minute. Taking on, you've got a big Trick Room mode there with the Mimikyu, the Snorlax, the Muck that can take advantage of that as well, and the Slowking being another Trick Room setter there. So, what are we going to do? I feel like, although Arcanine's a bit of a problem, I feel like Tapu Koko and Scizor's a very good lead here. I probably do want to bring Mudsdale, and what do I want to bring? It's the last one. Do I want to bring Porygon 2 or Tapu Fini? Like Tapu Fini's going to struggle a lot against Tapu Bulu and Muck. And you're going to be guaranteed to see the Tapu Bulu, but we do have Scizor. It's just we probably Porygon 2 might be nice, because if we see a Trick Room come out, I guess Tapu Fini might be, because if we can heal Pulse and Swagger, it kind of helps us a lot more, I think, overall. So I'll go Fini. Go Fini. And then at least we've got 2 terrains that we can interchange and try and get rid of that grassy terrain when we don't want it out on the field. It's also a nice switch into any fire type attacks that we see coming from potentially the Arcanine onto that Scizor. That would otherwise be threatening us. At least we can switch in the Fini in that slot to take those fire type attacks, soak them up a bit better than pretty much anything else that we've got on the team. So we're going to lead Koko, Scizor. We see Mimikyu and Arcanine. One thing that we could go for here, which was one of the reasons why I changed the Tapu Koko on the team to a modest variant. So I always get a little bit worried about really bulky Arcanines. One thing we could do here is go for a Bullet Punch. There's a -1 Bullet Punch, and a Gigavolt Havoc will pick up a KO on any Arcanine out there. So we could just do that, and I think that's what I might do this turn, just to get rid of it. It makes Scizor's life a lot easier if that Arcanine isn't on the field. So let's go for that Gigavolt Havoc and that Bullet Punch. Hope that the Arcanine doesn't protect or switch out. And hopefully we take it down. Hopefully it's not holding some sort of Wackenberry or something crazy like that. So we see the Mimikyu actually withdraw here. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We didn't think about that, did we? And this is one of the drawbacks with running. The Nature Power. Your opponent can play on that. And now we're going to fire off a Bloom Doom into the Arcanine. Excellent. So this is going to ping off into the Arcanine, do about 5 health damage to it. So we're just technically wasting our Z move here. We should have really thought about that. I would have been more inclined to think that the Mimikyu maybe go for a Trick Room in that situation. It does more damage than what I thought it would. I guess we're boosted by the... and we get away with that actually. So we don't lose anything here. We just see a Snarl come out from the Arcanine. So that's a lot better result than what I kind of would have expected. So what can we do? Can Volt Switch into... I think I'll Volt Switch into the Tapu Bulu just to get Tapu Koko off the field. And I'm just going to... what have we got in the back? We've got Porygon... No, we've got Mudsdale and Tapu Fini, which... nothing's a good switch into Tapu Bulu. But we need to change this terrain, don't we? I think I'm just going to protect Scizor this turn. I don't know what I am going to Volt Switch into, because we're probably likely to see a Woodhammer come out into that slot, I'd imagine, whatever we do. But, now let's think about this. What do we want to lose? Could my opponent have? They've got the Mimikyu. I think we lose the Mudsdale here, to be honest. I think that's probably the one thing out of everything. Especially if they've got the Snorlax. If they've got the Muck, then that causes loads more problems. But I think I prefer to lose Mudsdale over Fini right now. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So we see the Bulu actually going to get powered up and go for a Swords Dance, which is not ideal at all. Okay. So definitely going to see a fire type attack come into the Scizor slot. You've got to imagine. I'm going to go for a high horsepower. Not that I think we're going to get it off. And I'm going to switch in Tapu Fini on the Scizor slot to take that fire type attack. My opponent playing really well and pinning us in here. That's first turn switch to the Bulu was really well played. So we'll get the Tapu Fini in, change the terrain. We'll take a flamethrower from the Arcanine, and we're probably going to lose. We are definitely going to lose Tapu Bulu, Mudsdale to just a Horn Leech. What do we do here? Do we bring in Scizor? I think bring in Scizor. I think bluff the Bullet Punch onto the Bulu. Protect the Scizor this turn and hope that the Bulu kind of protects this turn. We can get a Muddy Water off onto the Arcanine. This is not looking too good though, at all. So there's the Protect, which is good because we kind of bluff the Protect with that Scizor. So we expect a Flamethrower coming in to that slot, but it's just a Snarl. What we've got to really hope for here is an accuracy drop with the Muddy Water onto that Arcanine, and then the Flamethrower miss the next turn. We do hit the Muddy Water. We're going to get an accuracy drop. No accuracy drop. And reveals a Citrus Berry. Okay. Depending on how this Tapu Bulu is trained, I don't know if the Bullet Punch is going to be enough or not. I think we're going to lose this Scizor either way here. So I'm just going to go for a Bullet Punch into the Bulu and... do I protect or do I bank on the Bullet Punch? The Bullet Punch is never going to kill the Bulu. I'm going to protect Fini here. So we protect. Let's see. There's the Bullet Punch. Hopefully it puts it in range for the Tapu Koko to come in and take it down, which it will do. So we're going to probably lose. Yeah, we're going to lose Scizor here. But that's something we kind of have to, we'll just accept. We're in such a bad position at the moment. And we'd get that Horn Leech in from the Tapu Bulu. But we can bring in Koko now, and that Tapu Bulu is in range for a Dazzling Gleam to take it down, which is nice. But we've also got to worry about the Snarl from the Arcanine. But my opponent could quite easily just switch out the Tapu Bulu in this situation and preserve it for later. But I don't think we can really do too much other than go for a Dazzling Gleam and a Muddy Water, to be honest. So we'll just go for that. There's the Bulu switch out, so to bring it back in later to take advantage of that grassy terrain. I don't mind this switch too much because it means we do get to break the disguise on the Mimikyu. Probably see a Snarl come out from this Arcanine though. Yeah, there's a Snarl. Does hit both Pokemon. And we'll see a Muddy Water come out. It does connect as well, so at least we'll be doing some chip to that Arcanine more than anything. And we get an accuracy drop on the Mimikyu, which is pretty nice. Not on the Arcanine though. What I could do, I could go for a nature. I'm gonna go for. I don't want to go for the nature power because I'm scared of that Bulu switching in. But surely the Bulu's not going to switch in at this point because, Yeah, I'm going to go for it. I think the Bulu's too low health to switch in at this point. And I'm going to go for a last ditch attempt. I'm going to swagger the Mimikyu. Hopefully it hits itself in confusion. So the Arcanine switches out. Snorlax comes in. We're going to see a Trick Room from this Mimikyu here. So we do get the Thunderbolt off onto the Snorlax. But because of that Snarl drop, we're not going to be hitting as hard as we would have before. Oh, the Mimikyu avoids, and we see a Trick Room. So I think that is game over, unfortunately. I'll protect Coco here, and I'm just going to go for a Muddy Water with Finny. I wonder what we're going to see. If we're going to see a Belly Drum Psych Up. That is not going to be good. So Mimikyu actually withdraws. We see Tapu Bulu come on, hit the field, change that terrain back to the grassy terrain. Getting schooled, I think, here. This is a really solid team, and it's my opponent's playing it extremely well. So it's a cursed Snorlax, so we'll start boosting up. All we can really hope for is Muddy Water accuracy drops, and then them coming in clutch in these next couple of turns. So we do hit the Muddy Water, do very minimal damage. We get an accuracy drop on the Snorlax. No accuracy drop on the Tapu Bulu though. I think my opponent has to target the Tapu Koko here with the... I don't think we'll survive anything either. I'm going to go in case... Oh no, it's pointless. I may as well just go for the Muddy Waters, to be honest, with Tapu Fini. It's not looking too good. So we see a Facade into that Fini. And here comes the Bloom Doom. Second Bloom Doom of the game. This one from a stab Tapu Bulu though, so doing way more damage than our Tapu Koko would have been doing to that Arcanine. And let's see, it's probably going to target into the Koko to get rid of it. Yeah, there we go. And I think that's sealing the game up for my opponent, to be honest. A really well constructed team, really well played. There wasn't much we could have done. And Muddy Water avoiding the Snorlax. But that is Muddy Water all day long. Hit the Bulu, but yeah, I think that's game now. We know the Tapu Bulu's slower as well, so both Pokemon are going to be able to just double into Tapu Fini and pick up the win there. So very well played to my opponent, and it's nice to see a team piloted so well. Yeah, there's not really much else I could say there. I think the first turn we got carried away, not thinking about Mimikyu switching out, wasting our Z move. We maybe should have been a bit more cautious in that situation, rather than just diving headfirst in, but not taking anything away from my opponent there. And it's nice to see a team play so well as well. You know, Tapu Bulu is a hard Pokemon to operate well. My opponent really executed his strategy there really nicely, and then kind of locking the game with that Mimikyu Snorlax, and then bringing in the Bulu once the Trick Room was set up late game, when that Scizor threat was taken care of. But we'll wrap things up there, guys. I'm not going to be too downbeat about it. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, please leave a like on the video. It does help the channel out massively. And do let me know what you think about the top cut teams and the teams that you kind of saw coming out of the International Championship from this past weekend. Did it surprise you, the things that you saw top cut, or was it kind of stuff that you were kind of seeing? Were there any teams in there that you kind of really thought looked really good and you want to try and stuff like that? Whatever you think, let me know. Sorry if this episode dragged on a little bit at the start as well. I probably rambled a bit too much rather than just diving on to getting in with games and things like that. But we will be back on Friday, guys. We will be back on Friday, guys. I'll not jibber that out again. With another episode of the School of Hard Knocks. So do stay tuned for that. And we'll be back later on this evening with a QR code team. And we've got a very, very special team lined up for this week. So do stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you've got any questions about today's episode, anything that we've done in the games about the team or anything like that, do let me know. But we might change up the Mudsdale or something else on the team for Friday's episode. But do stay tuned. And we'll see what happens between now and Friday. But yeah, whatever you're doing, guys, take care of yourselves. Have an amazing evening, and I will see you later. So until then, bye bye.